Well, the 5 weapons of chess mastery are forks, pins, skewers, removing of the defender, and discoveries.
What's a fork?
A fork is when one piece is attacking 2 or more pieces at the same time. This knight is attacking the queen and the king, and nothing can take it either, so that makes it a fork, and so it's attacking both of these pieces.
And which one of those is going to move out of the way? Can I save one?
Yes, but you can only save the king because the king, you actually have to move it because it's in check.
So what happens after, let's say, okay, if you took your knight and you attacked my king and my queen, let's say I move my king out of the way, what's the next move you play?
I would take your queen.
Oh, okay. Can you show me one more example of what a fork looks like?
Okay. Well, you are attacking both of these bishops, and they can't protect each other because they're on different colors.
Okay, so what happens, let's say, what happens if I move the bishop on the light square? What if I move that one out of the way? What would happen next?
I will take your bishop.
Oh, okay. Talk to me about a pin. What's a pin?
A pin is when when one piece is attacking a piece in front of another piece, a more important piece that's behind it.
And why can't the piece in front move out of the way?
Because it's either a king behind it, which is called an absolute pin, which when you can't move the piece at all, or it's a relative pin where you can move it away, but it's just a bad idea.
Show me what a relative pin looks like. What's a relative pin?
Well, this book is can't move out of the way.
So why can't I move my bishop? Why can't I, if I have the white pieces, why can't I move my bishop?
Because if you move your bishop out of the way, the rook comes down and takes the other rook.
Okay. Set it back up again one more time. So tell me what's going on here. What's the black rook doing? What's the white bishop doing? And what's the white rook doing?
Well, the rook is pinning this bishop to the rook because it can't move, otherwise the rook would get taken.
Show me that. What happens if the bishop moves?
The rook would take this rook.
Okay.
But if this moves, it will leave the bishop hanging, and the bishop would get taken.
The bishop gets taken by the rook. What about an absolute pin? What's an absolute pin?
An absolute pin is when a king is behind the piece. So if there was a piece, so this piece couldn't move because there's a king behind it. And kings are the most important pieces in chess because if you can't capture kings in regular chess, but you can't put them in check. So
what happens in this one if the knight moves out of the way? What happens if the knight moves out of the way?
it can't move out of the way because the king would be in check.
Oh, because the king is in check from the queen?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, what about a skewer? What's a skewer?
A skewer is like an X-ray attack because it attacks right through the piece.
Let me see what that looks like.
This. So the bishop is attacking the king, but it's really trying to get the queen because once the king moves out of the way, the queen is free.
Why does the king have to move out of the way that way?
The king has to move out of the way because the king would be in check, and whenever you're in check, you have to block it, capture it, or escape.
So the king is in check there from the bishop?
Yes.
Has to move out of the way?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then after the king moves, what happens next?
It reveals an attack, so you can just take this
Okay.
piece.
Can you give me one more example of a skewer?
Okay. Well, this would be a example because the knight is worth more than the pawn.
How much is the knight worth?
3
How much
points.
is the pawn worth?
1 point.
So the rook, what's the rook doing?
The rook is attacking this knight, which is free right now, and the knight would move out of the way, so this pawn get taken. But if it just stayed there, you could just take the knight.
Oh. What about a discovery?
A discovery is an attack which is revealed because there's one piece in front of another piece which moves out of the way to reveal an attack.
All right, cool. Show me what that one looks like.
So, if this knight moves out of the way, it creates a double attack. So it's two checks at the same time, and it's also a fork.
Where are the two checks coming from?
The queen and the king. So the king can't capture or escape. So the king has to escape or capture.
Now you said that that's also, you move the knight out of the way so that it's a discovered attack from the queen, but the knight is also forking the king and the queen. So you used a discovery and a fork in one move? What's that called when you use two weapons of chess mastery at the same time?
A combo strike.
Combo strike. So show everybody the combo strike one more time.
Well, so you have this knight, and when it moves here, it's attacking the queen and the king.
And that's
while
what's that called?
A fork. And also it's revealing an attack, which is a discovery, and attacking the king. So they can't block because knights can't be blocked, and they can't capture or escape. They can capture, but they can't capture, but they can escape. So
what happens after? What happens now? The king is in check twice, and what's got to happen?
He has to move here, here, or here.
And what happens after he moves?
Take this queen.
Now, what about, okay, this one's going to be a little bit tricky. Can you handle something tricky?
Yep.
Okay. Tell me, or show me, tell me what it means when I say removing the defender.
A removal of the defender is when you take a piece or you move it out of the way so that you can attack a piece or a square.
Great. All right. So, what does removing the defender look like?
Well, so this queen wants to checkmate the king, but this rook is here to take it. So removal of the defender is so you can take this piece, and then once the king or one of his pawns move, you can checkmate him.
Okay, show me that one more time.
Well, the queen wants to checkmate the king, but by going like that, but the rook is there. Okay. So by taking this rook, once the king moves, like maybe like that, then the queen can just come down and checkmate.
Okay. Can you give me another one too?
Okay. Okay. So. Okay, so this queen wants to come down and checkmate the king, but she can't because of the knight.
Okay.
So when she moves her rook over, then if the king moves, like that, then when she comes down, the knight takes, because it has to. And
Why
then
does the knight have to take there?
Because if the knight doesn't take, because the king is in check and he has nowhere to block, capture, or escape, so he has to capture. Otherwise, well, he has to. And then the rook comes down and says checkmate.
Okay, so that was removing the defender. You also moved the queen down there first and allowed it to be captured by the knight. What's that called?
It's called a sacrifice because It's called a sacrifice, and that means that you have to give up a piece to gain material advantage or a better position, or in this case, checkmate.
Awesome. And can you tell us one more time, like, all the 5 weapons of chess mastery?
The weapons of chess mastery are a fork, a pin, a skewer, a discovery, and the remover of the defender.